Welcome back, boys, to Real Men Talk Shit. It's been one hell of a time, and we are back. We're with Drifter, one of our favorite guests of all time. Rillis, how you doing, buddy? Drifter, how have you been?
I'm
Thank
on
you
a
for having me.
rampage. Yeah, I'm just like the only thing I care about right now is getting rid of cheating in Pokemon and playing Monster Hunter.
You're still hunting the Pokemon cheaters.
I care about Pokemon more than anyone else. Like that's like the sleeper thing about me. It's like, oh, you see all these like big YouTubers and influencers and stuff. It's like I'm just like the person just in the corner just like I love Pokemon more than all these cheaters. I'll find them one day.
He's sitting
Is
there
this
like a
going to be
Simpsons
your
character with his eye twitching. He's just
hmm?
just really angry, staring off into space, super angry and aggressive. Go ahead. You're
Matt,
good.
is this going to be
Okay.
your white whale?
I
Like,
don't
is
like
this
calling
your
it
hill
a
to
white
die on,
whale.
your last stand to
Well, I
take
don't like
down
calling
the
it white whale because that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The story is about the self-destruction, but that's not this. We're on a righteous cause.
Right, but it's a simple analogy for hunting a big fish. You've
Yes,
got an epic game to take down, not that much unlike Monster Hunter.
exactly. Honing all my
Yeah,
skills.
I think his shit is super weird though, because it's like if you look at Call of Duty ranked, it would be like the top 250 players, all of them cheat in some way. And Brillis has proof of 99% of them. And everybody doesn't want to listen to it because they think he's a bad person. It's like morality shouldn't be a part of this, regardless.
Math is math.
Yep.
It
A
So,
lot of
only
bad
takes
people
so
can do
long.
math.
and I'm more
As
fired up than ever because Moist Critical started playing like Pokemon Showdown. So like all the community is flooding in to suck that off. And I'm just like seeing all these people like he's a cheater, bad actor, that dude just straight scams people. So I'm just sitting there I'm like, oh man, if he falls in the wrong crowd, it's like extra over. But I want this like Uno reverse where he like realizes like, wait a second, everyone's using Game Shark. Oh, I'm making a video about this. That's all I want in this world.
Well, your number one win then is to catch Moist Critical live on stream and somehow get that link through for him to watch and do one of those like stream VOD reviews.
Yeah,
That
it's
that
hard
that's a
though.
giant W for you if you can make that happen.
I tried. I dropped like $5. I was like, a lot of people are talking about this guy. Heads up, he's a cheater. And I got like one of those streamer like half paying attention because there's a million donations in chat where he's just like, the fucker's a cheater. Damn. And then didn't like elaborate further. So I'm like, okay, at least he doesn't seem to like cheating. He just needs to know who it is.
Step in the right direction.
And then also like, oh, how much is it that I paid $10 to get my video up there? That could just make him hate me. Because it's just like, oh, fucking weirdo trying to get a plug kind of thing. It's like, no, I'm legit, please.
It's like, I won't even send you my video. I'll send somebody else's that
No
proves
one
it
else has
too.
a video. That's the problem.
I was about to say, no, you need to make another account and send a video from that account so it doesn't look
There you
like
go.
you sending the video.
Zach, you do it for me when
I,
next time he streams.
I'll just reach out to Josh and be like, buddy, can you reach out to Charlie and let's get these ropes
Please,
connected.
I just need like this is like the one chance I have, which is why we are like Ahab on top of the whale, ready to go down with everyone right now. It's over.
Honestly, it's weird that there's like, levels that connect you in some way. It's weird looking at a lot of content creation in that way because you'll be like one level away and you're like, wait, I'm literally like one person away, two people away from being able to contact this person and fixing this problem. But do I have enough guts to message somebody right at this second? Yeah, I'll sleep on it. Maybe take a shit and maybe I'll message them while I'm shitting. That's about it.
Now I have the guts. It's just like if it actually goes through, that
Yeah.
matters. Because like sometimes they just don't care. We're just like, yeah, I'm not going to leverage like my goodwill with PewDiePie just so he can learn that there's a psychopath out there who wants to see cheating gone in Pokemon. It's like, sorry, bud, I love you, but I'm going to save that call for when I need it. I've
Yeah.
got
I
a
think
few of
you're
those connections.
describing like the Kevin Bacon number. I'm sure you've heard that everybody on the planet is 6 degrees away from Kevin Bacon, and it's like a content creator. I would posit that it should be the moist critical number. Your moist critical number should be how many connections you are away from moist critical.
We need to
And
like
there's
shorten that
always
to
the
just
weird
like
ones.
the moist factor of 6 or 4. Like your moist factor is
Ooh.
2. And that means you're just right on top of them. Oh, that's the
I
title.
imagine actually that
Zach,
would be
no,
zero.
something like that, yeah.
Exactly.
Where it's like, Zach, that's the title. Write it down, put it somewhere. What's your moist factor?
I got it. I got it. It's really weird when you look at those things, though.
What are your
And
degrees of
what have you been up
moisture?
to, Drifter? Like, that's my psychopathy right now. Have you been on any cool rabbit holes with your Call of Duty, or are you just like passionate about something right now? Because I'm fired up.
Yes, and I'm not going to talk one single word about it here.
That is completely fair.
It
But
is.
I'm
Exactly.
happy you're passionate about something.
I'll put a
Thoroughly
little
excited.
thing in the chat.
Thoroughly excited about what I know, and I hope, man. But Burles, I think your collar's on a little bit too tight, buddy. That excitement's bursting at your seams right now. It's
No, that
absolutely
means it's not
amazing.
tight enough. I'm still getting oxygen to my brain.
But if you wanted to talk about stuff that's exciting that I can talk about, I'm planning a gun range trip. I'm
That's
going to
cool.
make a FPS Russia style gun video. The pick 10 weapons from classic video games, ranging from common like the MP5 to exotic like the Laugo Arms Alien or something like the Sig 550. Which I bought a Bison. You want to see?
That's
it?
That
cool.
was cool. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up pictures super quick. It's where did I post
It's on
all
your
this
Twitter,
stuff?
isn't it?
It
I'll get
is,
it.
but I
Keep
can
talking.
share it very quickly here. I'm going to try to do the screen share thing.
Okay.
Share screen. Don't show this again. Share screen. Oop. See if that
And
comes through properly.
Drifter screen. I can't. Oh, I gotta
That.
remove the
Oh,
other one.
wait. Oh,
There it goes.
it's working. Oh,
Yep.
I saw that on Twitter.
Yep. I'll see if I can change it. Nope, hold up. Let me do this real quick. See if this works. Of course it doesn't. So let me swap the image to a different one. By itself in isolation, it looks like this. So I'm learning a lot about guns. I'm going to try to make a very cool video. The helical mag is clear, so you can see the bullets in it rotating as it fires. And interestingly, just so that you guys know, and so that the ATF knows if they're watching this, this is not a real Bison. The real Bison is employed exclusively by the FSB, the successor to the KGB, and is insanely illegal to import. What you're looking at here is a Draco with a Russian-style handrail, flash hider, and Bison-style magazine, and some pretty heavy modifications to make it the closest thing that you can legally acquire in the United States without making the State Department very mad at you.
Fancy.
That's still beautiful. Like, you hear a lot of the stuff that Kyle did to try and get certain guns and stuff like that, and it's like, it's still nice, man. Like, I understand you got to say what you got to say to protect yourself, but dude, it's still cool what you're doing. Are you going to end up working with Brandon and Donut and all them trying to get everybody together, or are you just doing something by yourself?
Wager would not. I'm not trying to become a gun tuber. I'm just doing a fun video. As more related to video games, rare.
Yeah,
guns
that's what
from
came
video
off.
games
Like,
in real
I was
life.
thinking of
Yeah,
when
I
they
just
had
know they like
Counter
doing
Strike pros actually go
days.
to the range way back in the day, and that was like the coolest thing.
I took the Phase guys to the range in like 2012 or whatever. It was really fun. But I know Donut Operator and Brandon Huera. I'm just going to be straightforward as the only odd guy out here. I doubt that we could get along very long politically. We're extremely different people. Like the group I'm going shooting with is cosplayers. It's going to be cosplay and guns. They're going to be cosplaying like game
That's an
characters.
interesting combination.
Like shooting, like wearing a pink jumpsuit and unloading a full auto pink P90 into watermelons and stuff. Like a little bit of a different vibe, but still really fun things. I'm going to pull up just for simplicity because I love talking about this. Been planning it all fucking week. We're going to be in one video. We got the Bison, got a P90, MP5. That one's full auto. The Laugo Arms Alien, if you're familiar with that pistol, wild ass gun. UMP-45, G36, AUG, M249 light machine gun, Dragunov sniper rifle, SIG 550 DMR, and an M203 40 millimeter grenade launcher.
Damn.
That we'll be shooting chalk rounds out of because I'm not fucking with grenades.
Yeah, everyone does chalk rounds. That's fair.
It still sounds like a fucking blast.
Yep, and I hope to God my body can keep up with it. I'm doing a lot better in a lot of different ways. The plan is we're going to rent an RV, like one of those simple, like probably like a Class C, just big enough for a bed in the back. So the ride down there is easy. I can film for an hour or two, take an hour or two of break, come back, and like, because I'm in a situation where I'm a lot more mobile and up and about now. You've probably even seen some of the gun range videos, but I do need breaks.
Well, also, when I saw the picture of you with your not Bison, I was like, hey, standing up, good for him.
Well, no, exactly. You get excited about the little things. It's like, goddamn, what
Uh,
is it today?
I definitely can stand, but not like in like you guys you spend an hour at the gun range, right? And then you can that's fine, or you can sit down and that's fine. I really can't. I need to lay down for like 30 minutes and kind of reset, and then I'm good to like get back up again and keep going. So I'm doing that, and I have to make sure that these videos don't mix because they're very naughty. But I'm going to be filming the Pine Park dispensary opening like 2 days later. But I know that these videos cannot come out back to back because that will not look good.
Not at all.
So we'll have to space those out a little bit.
Got to get an
That's what
in-depth
I'm up to.
randomly in there. But that sounds like a fucking blast.
That is the weird thing about YouTube. They'll let you do like one of the naughty videos every once in a while, and it'll pop off. They won't let you stack it.
Don't
No,
you
and the
dare.
rules on naughty are really weird. Like we're talking guns and weed now. Those two obviously don't mix well. For guns, they very recently changed the rule to where any full auto fire has to be age gated to 18 plus. I posted a video a couple of weeks after those rules got changed because I didn't know. I got doinked for it. The video stayed live. My channel got punished pretty horrifically for it. And I even talked to, apparently YouTube has a guy who oversees firearms content. And the rule is that the double fire triggers and burst fire and all that stuff, if you pull the trigger and more than one bullet comes out, they put that in the category of full auto. And then on the other weird side, if you're doing like cannabis influencing and stuff like that, all of your videos are age gated and suppressed unless they're scientific and they don't show anybody consuming cannabis. So like my number one viewed YouTube video is it's like a dispensary tour where I'm like deep in the weed forest pretending like it's Jurassic Park. The only reason that video got views is because it's one of very few on YouTube that don't feature people actually consuming the product. Going from seed to grow phase, an entire tutorial, good to go. One person hitting a vape, you are demonetized. So there's all these like really weird little rules to follow that to me don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, like the way that you can get away with educational or even artistic, like there was a lot of hubbub I remember like a half decade ago where there was a music video that just had like a straight up naked person in it. And it was just like, that is 100% fine according to YouTube because of like the entertainment value of it.
Or surgery videos, or I think for a while YouTube had like sex tutorials and some kind of unusual things.
Oh, they still do that. There's that guy that's like using the Nair on my butthole tutorial. And it's
or
just
breastfeeding tutorials, or I'm gonna clean my house.
bro, it's just
and,
him straight up doing like goatsy to the camera
lingerie.
with Nair. And that's allowed on YouTube and fine. And
I guess if you 18 plus it,
I think that's the scary thing. I don't remember because I thought there was like extra like people getting weird about like, one, this should be taken down. Two, why is it not 18 plus yet? And it already had like 3 million views. Maybe it got restricted after, but it got millions of views before getting restricted.
It seems like the only other thing with like marijuana that is absolutely acceptable at all is that 2 Chainz fucking series that he did where he cooks with it in a whole bunch of different foods and smokes at the same time.
That was really cool.
It was really cool, but it blew up fucking everywhere. It was all over Facebook. It was all over YouTube. It was all over Twitter, everywhere.
What year was this?
3 years. It was like 2020, 2019.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago. It was
But it,
a
like,
Wired
blew up
series.
everywhere. That was like the only thing else that I've seen that's like weed content. I don't search out weed content.
We need to find it and look it up and show it on screen because it was a really cool series. I don't even like care about partaking that much, but I was just like, oh, I like food, and they did some really cool culinary stuff. I think it was Wired,
it's like
but
the
maybe
Netflix
not.
show Cooking with Cannabis.
Yeah,
It's
it was
Vice.
like the precursor to that, and it was just on YouTube.
It's Vice.
I
Was
think
it
there were
Vox,
different
maybe?
rules because you remember you used to be able. I'm thinking about the 2020 era because that's when I was first starting to do like these spicier kind of videos. Even on Twitch, I think I was streaming on YouTube at the time, and YouTube Gaming told me the rule was you can smoke weed on stream if you're in a legal state. And that lasted for like a year, and then they changed it to where you would get demonetized for actually consuming on stream. So you would see all these streamers just they would go turn off their webcam, and you would hear like the bong bubbles just like ripping through the mic, and then webcams comes back on. All right, guys, we're ready for another round of Counter Strike.
Yeah, Munchies Bong Appetit. That's what it was.
I'm not seeing anything on screen here. What are we looking for?
It still has your.
He's trying to like go
available.
back and forth. But here's a video.
gotcha.
Ganja Grandma is in the kitchen 5 million
That one
views,
too.
and I saw that shit like in my homepage, and they will just make it. They'll like cook, and then they'll take a, or not cigarettes. They'll take a
This-
smoke break and get high as fuck, and then go back to cooking with weed.
This is a 5.4 million view video 5 years ago. 2 Chainz samples opulent cannabis cuisine, the most expensivest.
That's insane because he's consuming it, and I know that is just like a death knell for algorithmic love. So I don't know how he managed to pull that one off because
Yeah, look up bong appetit.
bong appetit.
Is good. It just won on name alone 3 years ago.
Mhm.
It's one of those things where like YouTube also plays favorites. Every social media does play favorites, so it's like
Yes, they
if,
do.
if you're Munchies, you got 5 million subs, you've got like mainstream media kind of backing behind you and doing all that kind of content. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
the
can
name of this
smoke
episode
and
is
cook.
Stirring the Pot. The
So a
puns
lo-
are fantastic.
I can
You can only come up with that shit
definitely
while high.
speak on topics of playing favorites. I got when TikTok came back, I got very hard defavorited. Basically, my entire everything. I like shadow banned, deplatformed. I went from averaging 100,000 views a video down to like 400.
Yeah,
Not
they're so-
400,000, 400 total.
Nope. They're
That
so
sounds
fucking
like
weird.
my YouTube career. Yay.
It's like you'll get 5 or 6 videos that pop to a level that is not seen anywhere else on the channel. And then it's like you're shitting for like 3.5 months because you're getting 50 to 60 views. And it's like, I have more followers than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you just not even giving my videos to the followers?
Well, that's the
They're
thing.
not.
I get more. I have more followers than impressions. Where it's like I have 30,000 impressions, 15% click through rate. Why is this not getting more? It's not that people are disinterested in my video; they want to watch. They're just not being shown to anyone because I'm shadow banned. Yay!
That's exactly where I'm at on TikTok. I got shadow banned for covering a lot of science topics, non-CCP topics, and of course with my own political bias, anti-Trump topics and stuff like that. And at some point a couple of months ago, that just was completely made illegal on TikTok, and all of my shit got put on lockdown. And it does not matter what content I make anymore.
I got a strike on TikTok for just having a racy topic about the right being positive in any way.
Yeah, it'll
And
get
then
you
I got
for
a
dumb
second,
stuff.
and then I got a second flag for saying that Andrew Tate was released from prison and released from his home lockup. That's just a fact. Like it happened. Like, what are you doing? That
You're
should
probably
not be
getting flagged. Like, so this is what happened to me.
Hate
I did
speech.
very factual videos, and
Yeah.
the community would be mad and flag them. And if you get like 1,000 flags, it just pretty much automatically doinks you and lets the AI figure it out a couple days later. So
Yeah,
I'm
there's-
assuming when you mentioned like Andrew Tate, he's got his own group of haters, and they're just like, "Well, Andrew Tate video, flag this shit." And you get enough of those, and TikTok is just like, "Okay, this video is going in the garbage," and it also hurts your account. Yay, social media.
There's just a million layers I've kind of discovered in the depths of being shadow banned. Where like YouTube, they've always gone like, oh no, we don't manually suppress content. We don't have any systems like that built in. But then on one of their websites, they call it. They actually like admitted it. Where like we manually deplatform content we find is poor for the community. And now, of course, like any other moment in life, I'd be able to pull out their exact phrase for it, but I can't do it live on air. So someone else talk while I think.
I was looking for it.
I'll just swap back to TikTok and YouTube. I went through a spiel recently. Even though I work on TikTok, I'm anti-TikTok. I refuse to consume any short form content. Like when people start watching Instagram reels, I'll get up and leave the room. Real talk.
Oh, I hate short form with every fiber of my being.
Yeah. So I made a series of videos on YouTube talking about algorithmic dependency, algorithmic complacency, addiction, how these systems work, how they're designed to hijack your dopamine system, how I do know that these algorithms, both for men and women, they'll push you toward different buckets, but they're very good at identifying when you're undergoing emotional distress, when you've lost a loved one or a job. That's when they'll actually hit you the hardest and try to push you into like a rabbit hole. I made a couple of videos about this topic, and let's say that neither TikTok nor YouTube appreciated it, and it hurt both channels. You talk about like children addicted to algorithms, it will shit all over you.
Yeah, just remember, borderline content. So like you get enough flags, enough dislikes, and now you're a borderline creator, and you're just gone forever.
Yep.
And
I'm
that's
trying to
what they
claw my
admit
way out
to
of that.
suppressing. Yeah, and they admit to suppressing that.
Here's one from
I get dislike
2021.
botted. There's no clawing out.
Deplatforming the far right, an analysis of YouTube and how they deplatformed the far right. Like they admitted it openly.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking
But
ridiculous.
going back to the all the algorithm stuff, that is what I think is one of the biggest problems with the internet is 90% of people don't understand how they're being farmed. And it's my biggest black pill where I'll just kind of see people feeding into all the algorithms. It's just oh, people only exist to be ad bots for everything in social media, and that's why my life is crap because I'm aware of it. I wish I was ignorant. I wish I was stupid.
I'm glad that we're having this conversation. You would not believe, I've tried to talk about this with a lot of, we'll say, non-creator people that haven't been on the back end of this. And it is either I don't care, it doesn't affect me, I'm smart enough to notice propaganda, or as you talk about that 90%, a lot of people do not have the scientific or mathematical background to really grasp the shape or magnitude of how these manipulations
you don't
work.
understand. They're maliciously doing this to you, and it is all deliberate. Every video, also people don't understand what triggers it. That if you have something on your screen for a longer amount of time, so you stop scrolling, that they are now counting those seconds, those milliseconds.
Yep.
You are looking at that thing, and your entire algorithm is based on how much you're looking. It's oh, I didn't comment or I didn't like, so I'm not feeding into the algorithm. Wrong. You looked at your screen. You are now the algorithm.
And they can tell the position of your screen, if it's laying flat or picked up. And if you change positions suddenly, it's hey, we've got something interesting. The camera
sitting up in chair meme. He's he's locked in now. That's his.
That's the real deal. And I've been really trying very hard to warn people about that on my channel. First of all, YouTube hated it. Most of my fans.
Oh wow,
you're
getting suppressed by the algorithm you're exposing. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, I should have known better on that one. But the weird thing is that what frightens me is that you say 90% of people, I think that's a very generous number. I would say
that was me being generous.
Of people, 98% of people are fundamentally incapable of understanding even the vague shape of the problem.
I don't want it to be that high. I don't want it to be that high.
So I had a weird thought process with this about last week. Okay. So it starts off with YouTube algorithm. I randomly got fed a Travis Pastrana video, and it was about his injuries and stuff like that. And recently I started a mental health podcast after my son passed in September. I tried to start working on mental health and kind of making not only myself better, but trying to build everybody up around me. Whether it's, stupid little things doing better for your family, or trying to heal yourself and your mental illness and try and do the best you possibly can. So he was talking about his concussions, and he's well, the biggest part about concussions is when can I go back to doing what I was doing? When can I go back to riding a fucking motorcycle when I have a concussion? He's when the emotions go away. And I never had a concussion at that level where I felt emotional about everything. But he's yeah, every single thing that you do, you get super fucking emotional about it when you have really bad concussions. So I was oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's similar to things like PTSD. I wonder if that's similar to
it definitely sounds like PTSD.
Yeah. So I went down this rabbit hole and started Googling because, that's what you fucking do when you're hey, I want to understand if my thought process here is right. So I searched 2 or 3 things that he specifically pointed to as things that help with concussion symptoms and help you pull yourself out of that emotional response with concussions. All 3 of them have positive correlation with helping you cure the physical problems of PTSD. Now, is that curing the flashbacks and everything else? No, but you can actually cure the situations that are causing those neurochemical problems in your brain. Talk to my therapist about it because I was this is just studies on the internet. Let me see what my therapist has learned. He was a part of a study in 2015 and 2017 where all 3 of the chemicals that I brought him, he's all 3 of them were things that we studied about being linked to PTSD and linked to other mental illnesses and how they can affect them. And all of them showed positive influence, but none of them are at the level where we can sit here and say, hey, go take that because it will help you, because it's so minusculely fucking actually targeted to where they've tested it. But there has been positive recourse for all of them. And I was that's interesting. Just like my thought process connecting a stupid fucking video with mental illness and trying to figure out exactly how it all works. And I was right, at least to some level, that Harvard was like, hey, this might be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's fucking cool. So I started it to see if it fucking worked.
That's fascinating. I'm going to go on a limb here and use my limited knowledge of psychiatry. That's the study of the brain specifically, I think.
Mental illness.
I'm going to assume, this is a guess, that when you get a concussion that's bad enough, that it cocks up your emotional processing, I'll say algorithm in your brain, because your brain has a system to sort and process and manage emotions. That could just be dicked up. So you could get a concussion and it just makes you more prone to a wide variety of emotions, or less so.
Well,
I'm not a concussion expert, but that would be my guess.
My thought was like trauma, and your brain is treating that trauma like PTSD.
Exactly. It also drops things like your testosterone. It drops a lot of other hormones and other problems and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, me and Drift0r have had a lot of conversations in the background about medical stuff and stuff like that. I'm not an idiot. Like, I kind of have a generalized idea of what's going on.
Why'd you put it in chat though? Like, I take that. It's great.
No, that's what the major one was. I was just giving the info.
I was like, are we talking? Is this like some secret thing that's like, oh no, you're not allowed to talk about CoQ10 or you sound like a kook?
I don't want to suggest things that people are like, oh, this isn't guaranteed. People with medical information.
Oh, that's
like,
it isn't guaranteed. Of like
retarded.
we've been shoving those dick pills forever with the lock and load.
But still, like, I try not to be those kind of people that are like, oh, go take this. But there was actual connections with Harvard, and I was like, that's really kind of cool. It's just interesting to see that, not every harebrained retard idea that you have as you're watching YouTube at 11 o'clock at night is stupid.
But you took a very different approach, and this entire spiel I'm about to do is a compliment to you. You probably saw this video scrolling around, the algorithm fed it to you, and your brain said, that's interesting. So you thought about it, and then you thought, you know what? I need to go to Google, and I need to use the search engine, and I need to put in the right phrases and scroll past the AI bullshit and find the real answers. And then you compare those answers and look at papers and pull on some background that you know, and then you go ask somebody who has expertise. You're doing a research process. You're like actively using your brain. There are people out there that just are blowing through TikTok at the exact same time, and they'll see a video 15 seconds summarizing and like, okay, I agree. And that's just part of their personality. They just slurp it right in and it's there. And
yeah,
it's
I know.
That's terrifying. Like,
No
Zoomers never learned how to research. They never know anything outside of the algorithm. Their internet literacy is piss. It's like worse than boomers.
Have you seen people, you ask them about a thing or a clip or a video, and I'm like, can you pull this up? And they'll open up TikTok and maybe start scrolling to find it again, which is the bottom of the barrel. But maybe they'll type in the search bar, like, I don't know, Snickers candy bars or something, and just start scrolling to find the right one. And that's the search.
It's like, I'm trying to remember that first frame that's baked into my brain when it's like, there's no other thing in it. And another scary thing is search used to not be that algorithm influenced, especially on YouTube. That's how I still like stay alive. That's what's keeping me in business right now is like search views on popular topics. So my SEO is clean, but it keeps getting more and more algorithm based to where like depending on your profile, your account, what you've watched, it changes your search. And it shouldn't do that. But now it's like targeting search to fuck people's brains even more.
Well, half of your search on YouTube is completely directly correlated to the things that you watched recently.
That's what I mean. It's algorithm.
I
will search is now algorithm.
I will search PKA podcast and episodes of this show will pop up. I will search Lolcow podcast and episodes of this show will pop up. It's like, that's not what I'm looking. Thank you. Like, can you promote this to everybody like this? Because I would love it. But like, fuck.
I think what it knows, I assume that you pop in on your own channel, see how your videos look and sound, leave some comments. This happens to me. It leaves like a little breadcrumb of my own content in the algorithm. So when I search, especially like I've covered a topic and I want to see what somebody else has to say and I'll like search the same thing, it'll put my own video up there pretty highly for no particular reason.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's an algorithmic search. Your search is tailored to you. And it knows that you watch your own videos a little bit, and it's not even smart enough to know that you are the creator.
Oh, that was a big problem back in like the early days of YouTube where people are getting flagged for click fraud because they have to watch their own video and they're getting served ads, and then that's pinging as click fraud because you're trying to make money off your own ads. Like, bro, I'm the creator of this video. Can you just disable ads for it so I can watch my content back?
That took like 5 years to get that feature to where it doesn't like totally screw you for that.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, but see, how is the system just that stupid? And it's the same for everything, where it's like, oh, we don't know who you are in the account you're logged into, and we're just going to treat your algorithm like that. You watch Verlisify. You can't be Verlisify. He has 500,000 subscribers. That's not you.
Yeah.
1 in 500,000. Verlist. There's no way.
Yeah, the odds are zero.
If we want to talk about algorithms that creep me out, the YouTube algorithm does a lot. So I just recently started listening to music for the first time, and I'm kind of letting the algorithm take me on a ride. And it's doing a really good job at guessing my psychology. It's an interesting experiment. But the one I want to talk about is I have this little game that I play with my wife, and it might be a little bit inappropriate, but when she leaves her phone unattended, I'll open it up, I'll pick a phrase, and then I'll add either hentai or Rule 34, and I'll like quickly find like a really wild image, click it, leave it on that, and I just sort of leave it for her to discover. It's sort of a little game. But the algorithm knows that my wife and I share accounts, and it knows that we're married and we kind of cross watch. So it's not abnormal for some of the things that she likes to show up in my feeds. I shit you not. I went on her phone and I did something like, I think it was just like mermaid hentai, or I'm just going to roll with that as an example. It could have been way more fucked up. Put it on there. Didn't think about it. Went back to my room, and I have I'm in the bed. We've got the monitor hanging down, and I open up my YouTube algorithm to just see what it's going to recommend me. It no shit recommended a barely safe for work mermaid porn kind of hentai thing right there in the first box. And that's happened like 4 or 5 times, where I will go to my wife's phone, not mine, pick a random weird thing, something that'll be funny. And it'll show up again in my feed on YouTube, but as a more real, like, let's see if this guy is really into feet. Let's just see if he'll bite on this one. And that cross pollution is really scary.
My manager channel for Woody did the same exact thing. I could see his history in real time because it was connected to his channel. And it was all of the videos that he was openly talking about on the show. He's like, yeah, I saw this girl cleaning her house in lingerie. And I was like, Woody, it's there. Look, there's a short with titties in it. I'm like, fuck, man. But me and my girlfriend play the same exact fucking game. She'll be sitting there with AirPods in, trying to do the dishes or load the dishwasher or whatever else. And I'll go back to like early 2010s, like extremely raunchy music, like I jizz in my pants from The Lonely Island, and just turn it on and turn the volume all the way up because she has hearing loss. So I think it's hilarious just to turn it all the way up so I know she's hearing it. And then she tries to speak to Siri, so I cover out the mouthpiece and just walk around with her phone. But I think it's hilarious to do that, and she just gets really frustrated. But yeah, do the same.
We do not condone gaslighting on this channel.
Gaslighting?
We were talking crazy. You're allowed to have playful pranks.
Exactly.
I think that's a playful prank. Gaslighting is more specifically trying to convince people they're going crazy.
That'd be driving me crazy if it's just like, oh, I don't want this music. Hey, Siri, can you not play this one anymore? And then it doesn't play. It's like, I'm just going crazy.
No, that's me fucking with her. Gaslighting would be telling her that I didn't do it. I have no idea what she's talking about. She's fucking insane for thinking this. Like a lot of the toxic exes that everybody has that tells you, there's no way in hell I'm doing anything. There's no way in hell I slept with 15 people in the past 15 years. There's no way in hell that you're the only one, I promise.
You're the only one that thinks this.
Yeah. Then you find out that they are the biggest whore ever and they're assholes the size of your hand. Like, that's what happens. That's gaslighting.
Also, that whole thing about like the lingerie cleaning and stuff, that's no like educational hack to get not safe for work content on YouTube, where like the dress up, or what's it called, like clothing hauls, those are filthy.
Yep, Kyle was on to those for a while. He was talking about how they try on their clothes and then they get in the shower and then leave their clothes on and turn on the water. And then it becomes completely transparent. And then
they just wear like fishnets, and they're just completely naked with fishnets, and that's their clothing haul.
I thought you were talking about wet sagging. That's a different thing.
It's all, you can just find bad content everywhere, no matter what. And going back to what you said about like trying to rig algorithms and stuff, it is so easy for like my Facebook feed to get completely bricked by just the random stuff that's said in Discord, because they're always making fun of me for being a furry. So like they'll make some joke about, you know, gay furries or buff furries. I'm not into those, but they'll try to make those jokes. And then like that'll just be my whole Facebook feed. We're just like AI buff masculine furries with crazy bulges. And I'm just like, all because of a Discord conversation. I can't use Facebook now. And
Well,
I'm just like,
Discord
how?
sells you data. That's why it's free. And
That's
it
what I mean. It's
knows-
like it's all bad and only we know.
Oh.
But that's the thing, like I have Messenger open because if someone pings me on my desktop, I need to see it so I can respond to them quickly. And I'm in a Discord call with Messenger open and a YouTube Chrome tab. So they hear everything. They know everything that I'm thinking about or is being said to me. And because of that, it's like masculine furry bulge, and now it's fucked.
So I want to back up just a little bit and say you don't like buff furries.
No.
And you don't do gay furry, if I'm not mistaken. We talked
No.
about that before.
Yeah.
But would you be okay with a buff furry woman?
Nah. I don't like the
think about
over athletic. Nah.
Nothing. So you said nothing over athletic. Fit is fine, but not
Fit's good.
fucking
Yeah.
shredded.
No. And that exists. And you're saying this just to fuck my Facebook algorithm. That's the first thing I'm going to see now.
Fuck,
What,
I thought you were
really
saying
jacked,
buff, not
shredded
buff.
fox women flexing their abs
I
on
was
you?
confused for a second.
Do
Good
you
job.
still have that tab open? Can it hear all of this?
Well, we can find out. It's probably not, but like it's also one of those things where it's just like, and also the
volunteering.
thing is, if it sends you something absurd and you look at it for a second too long, where like I got like a Luna body pillow from Hell of a Boss, where I'm just like, why is that in my Facebook feed? And that extra
Bro.
second I took to go, why is that in my Facebook feed? Now it's all just like Luna hentai in my Facebook. I don't want it.
You're hitting really close to home. I love Hell of a Boss. I think that show's great. I watched an episode or two with my wife, and
Close
like
enough.
the next day,
Guys,
it
you
might
aren't
have
gonna
been
believe
Twitter,
this.
something.
You aren't gonna believe what is in. It's not furry. And I hope that actually is the link. But now
don't wanna
I'm getting
click
anime hentai bust models drawing.
Yes, high quality.
We can actually
What
even
the
show
fuck?
that. I think
Yeah.
But
that
I
is
had a
my
similar thing happen.
Facebook
It
right
drew me
now
Luna.
from this conversation.
You open that. You a Hell of a Boss fan or a hater?
Oh yeah, fan.
Okay, cool. Me too. It's fun.
It's fun. That's why I
also
like
enjoy
even though it was
Has-Been.
just like, oh, it's not like Puritan conservative kind of thing and is degenerate, but it's fun.
It rides a weird line. It should
does.
be not a word I use that often. It should be like an extremely woke kind of show, and its gayness certainly makes it so. But it's weirdly self-aware. Like I remember the joke in episode 1 of Has Been Hotel, the porn star is arguing with the girlfriend of the main character, and says, "Oh, you don't like anything but tacos," and she's Mexican. And it's like, is that supposed to be racist? Is that supposed to be racist or homophobic? And the guy's like, I don't know, whichever one pisses you off the most. Like,
Yeah,
it's kinda
I also like Has Been Hotel, and they have like a lot of fourth wall moments where we'll talk about like some gay thing, and then turn to the camera. Like, who would want hentai of that?
Yeah. I don't know. Interesting show. I love their alternative theology. I got deep into theology, so seeing it kind of flipped on its head has been really creative. I thought the show really took off when they went to heaven and had that whole big dance number.
Oh yeah, like it was. I was invested. I was like, oh wow, they actually made a real story here.
I didn't expect that at all. And I also didn't expect it to have a tenth of the pace that it had.
It seems like a lot of shows like that. I've heard so much more about anime in the past like 2-3 years, and content as a whole, but like specifically.
Oh, there it
anime.
is, boys.
More,
Gotta scroll down a few more.
so more than a lot of video games coming out now, that it's almost like anime has grown past what video games were in like the late 20s. Why?
Not enough bulge, Facebook. Give me more bulge. Got to make it gayer than that. But we're close enough here. See, that's actually safe. We're not allowed to.
Nope.
We can show that one. What do
No,
you
we're
mean,
not.
nope?
We're not fucking showing this.
What? There's nothing wrong there.
We're
Maybe a
not
little
showing
bit.
your fur
There's a
bait,
little
you
bit of
fucking
dick root.
weird-
There's a little bit of dick root, but there's
You
nothing bad.
weird collar wearing motherfucker. We're not showing fur bait on the.
I
damn
don't.
show.
Oh, now we got. Oh God, it's getting worse. It's only getting worse, guys. We have to find a way to show this to people.
Ugh.
You aren't going to believe this next one. This is on Facebook.
Is this directly from your Facebook feed?
This is directly from my Facebook. I'm scrolling Facebook
that-
right now talking about this.
Yeah, he's just showing the links.
No.
It's fantastic.
Well, you know you're an anomaly. Straight furries represent less than 2% of the community, at least according to all of the scientific research that I've read. Like
it's
the
not.
furry
It's way more than
community-
2%.
That's just what I've read as a non-furry who peeks in for like science on occasion.
I haven't even seen studies that are like that, because usually like when people go to conventions, they have like their annual polls. It's usually like 60% gay.
My understanding was that it's one of the overall, we'll use the word queer because that covers a giant category of things. One of the queerest communities on the planet. That straight people are the minority or anomaly in that group.
Yeah.
To me, furries are the weirdest conversation to have because I love asking the question of where does it start? Does it start with the gloves? Does it start with the ears? Does it start with the butt plug? Does it start with the collar? I'm thoroughly confused to where it starts.
It doesn't start with like the apparel.
Yeah, you don't go to Hot Topic and become a furry.
Well, I'm saying at what point do you become a furry? Because obviously, I personally have the ideology that a lot of Native Americans would technically be considered furries because they can picture themselves as an animal. So as a whole, to me, that is being a furry at some point. But at what point of like wanting to turn yourself into like wearing ears and stuff do you consider starting to be a furry?
I mean, you're furry long before you get into the apparel is kind of the point. You gotta stop being obsessed with the butt plug too.
No, because like
it always comes back to butt plug with you.
Because Playboy bunnies technically are not furries, but they're wearing the ears. They might even have a little fluffy tail on their ass.
Right, that's a little bit of cute dress up. I think what Verlisify is trying to say, it's kind of like, you ever read a story or hear something like, your son kissed my son and turned him gay. And then he's like, well, I got bad news about your son. He's probably gay a long time ago. Or like, Zach, did you know that you like women with big titties? Did you sit down and plan that? Or did you see your first one and your brain said, yay?
Yeah, like what made you like, you didn't, like the tit versus ass man didn't just, like it was already predetermined before you saw it.
4 times though.
Right, but the point is that something is sort of there wherever it came from or whatever, like it builds, and people probably see furry stuff and it clicks with them. It makes sense. And I know there's also a totally different non-sexual community that's about a new identity or preferred identity or a different way to see yourself. Did we drop another thing in here?
Yeah, there's some bulge right there.
Nice.
I'm going to stop here. We've hit the peak.
Christ on a cracker. Yeah, that's
just from conversation right here. That's how you find it.
No, I love the taking the ideology out of it, because obviously there's things that happen in your life or things that you just click with that you're like that. Okay, whatever. But at some point when you look at somebody else and you're like, yeah, put on the ears, you're kind of shading over that way. You know what I'm saying? You could be a normal dude, but be like, I like you in kitty ears every now and then. You're kind of turning into a furry at some point.
It's one of those things where I want to disagree, because I've seen like so many people that are just like, what do you mean? Like if she's got little cat ears on, that's just cute anime stuff. That's weeb, not furry. But then I've watched those people just always progress down the furry rabbit hole at some point. Then they'll be like, yeah, tail is kind of cute too, and yeah, if they're like a little anthro, I draw the line there. It's like, yeah, you went from weeb to furry real quick.
That little bit of gray area in between everything is always the point where you're like, where's this start? I guess it kind of starts at the, you do anything towards it, but I guess.
Well, it could be a tolerance thing. So I am, just to be clear with both of you, not a furry. Not my jam.
Me either.
Doesn't really do it for me.
Where's the butt?
But I would sleep with most cat girls I see in anime.
That's fair. And I think that's a lot of weebs.
But there's other people with different tolerances, and those tolerances can go more and more and more, and they can even be preferences. Like some people, like you've probably seen the chart where it goes from human to like cat, and you ask the person to like
that's
pick
one of
the
the
line
best
in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's just a measure of a person's tolerance for that.
Yeah, it's great when you like throw that at a friend and you're thinking they're going to say 2 and they say 4, and you're just like, bros deep.
Wow.
Like I probably wouldn't go out of my way to seek like cat girl porn, because that's not my thing. But if a portal to another dimension opened up and 4 cat girls poured out of it, like for reals, yeah, would. That's stupid. Don't pass fun opportunities up. That's stupid.
Exactly. Also, it's like that's like what all those things in the shows are. Like that cat girl in Yu Yu Hakusho when she's doing like the battle tournament casting, and you're just like, why not? But also, the funny thing is Game Grumps with like the whole Dan's not a furry thing. Have you seen any of those clips?
I have not. You got me thinking about Lola Bunny though.
Well, the thing is, like, there was like one where Dan would say something like, "Oh, she's cute." Oh no, now chat's gonna say Dan's a furry. Look, I'm not a furry. And then Aaron would say something like, "What about Maid Marian?" It's like, "What do you mean Maid Marian?" From the Robin Hood Disney. He looked up.
Oh
He's like,
God.
"I would."
Well,
And
let me take a look at this. I'll see if this is within mine.
that's where it
No,
gets
no, it's
super
definitely furry.
interesting,
It's
is,
far.
like, honestly,
Oh,
think of
yeah,
Jessica
this one's too
Rabbit
far
and
for
Lola
me. I couldn't
Bunny.
do this one.
Like those two by themselves are just interesting, weird little gray area things from the 90s that, probably infect a lot of 30 and 40-year-olds.
Yeah, just like
They're like,
any
yeah, that.
Anthro Disney character that's a little busty, over.
It's just like, at what point is it like, yeah, you might be? And when does might turn into yeah? And it's just confusing.
I
It
think
might be
everybody makes their
mightism, but
decision there.
yeah, no,
right?
it's just
Mhm.
interesting. It's just interesting when everybody wants to sit here and put labels on everything, because becoming so labelized and stigmatized and stereotyped has now become the cool thing for some fucking reason. Instead of it, I like a little of that, I like all of that, I like a little of that. When did that not become like the normal thing? And it just,
Ooh,
let me label everything.
probably because the search engines that dictate our lives are also labeling everything. That would be my guess. It sort of spills out into greater society. Maybe at a zeitgeist or subconscious level that we don't even think about. But we were just talking about we're all just data points. We're all fitted into 40 different marketable
Mhm.
demographics and stuff, and that's how society is run. So it shouldn't be surprising that even without thinking about it, some of that comes back to just being normal parlance and labeling people.
Then I have figured out the million, if not billion-dollar idea for Tinder, and it fixes all dating apps ever. Make it so you can remove I am ADHD, BBW, LGBT, whatever from the top of their bio, and make it so anybody with that completely removed from your algorithm.
That's not already a feature?
No, it's not.
What?
At least last thing I knew as of 4 years ago.
I
Yeah,
know
what I've known is like if I say I am not looking for this kind of women, they will still send me this kind of women.
But just
seen
remove all descriptors like that completely.
hmm.
Right wing, left wing, all of them. Just remove all of them from the top of the bio. Let me just scroll. I
I
think
would
that's
imagine
basic.
that people that put their politics very openly in bios aren't quite as fun, but I'm not in the dating game.
Me either.
I've been married for 15 years or so. No,
Fuck you
18 years
guys.
now. Um, but a friend of mine recently it was rural dating, which is a different flavor than what y'all have. And
Nope,
he would
me
get
too.
stuff like, I like my men like I like my milk, no exceptions.
I got banned from Bumble for saying that I have two of the sixes. Let's work on the third.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking funny. Like, it's a punchline at this point with how many people say that. That's fantastic. But like, no, I'm, not any lower than a five. And I met with one person, like, I got matched with one person on Bumble and they had fucking AIDS. And I said, no, that's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sent me a friend request and she had a fucking kid. And that made me grossed out even more.
Well, you
That's
hope
the
the kid doesn't have AIDS.
I
oh
felt
yeah. I
horrible.
didn't
I was
think
like, I
about that.
don't want to know. I
My
don't want to know any more of this story.
yeah.
I feel
My big
bad
thing
and I
is
don't
that
like
I'm just
feeling bad.
like my biggest thing I've noticed on dating apps is like not every, but like 80% of women in their 30s on dating apps have kids. I'm just like
All of
that's
them.
not what I want, and it's
All of
already
them.
cooked.
No, you got to go the normal fucking old man route that every old man has sat there and fallen on. You got to go slightly younger, and then you'll feel better about yourself.
I'm growing old fast, and like young is starting to get uncomfortable. Like I see someone that's like, oh, she's cute,
Then
22, can't.
their age never goes up, as some people would say.
But it
It
gets
just
worse
never
and worse
changes.
for you.
It
I know it
Are
does.
gets
you
worse
still
and worse.
okay? Real talk. Are you still attracted to people that young?
Not, I don't mean
Yes.
like well, the thing is, if I see someone like that, I'm not going to know because like, oh, I could still just be like
Right.
mid
But I'm saying
20s.
you meet somebody
Ah,
and you think maybe initially think they're attractive, and then you find out they're 19 and starting college next semester.
well, that's what I mean.
Some
Like
wild
when
shit
I
like
just
that.
said that, I'd be like, oh, she's cute. Ah, 22, I can't. So like when I find out the age, that like lowers attraction.
Good. Glad to hear that. I feel like that's a pretty normal response. I don't know about you guys, but I like women that are more mentally matched with me. The number
Mhm.
one boner killer is a dumb date. That is awful. I prefer them
So
smart and beautiful and stuff, but
And the weird thing is like there's different levels of dumb. Like there's IQ dumb, but then there's also just like social. Like I've been on TikTok my entire life and have zero personality dumb.
mhm.
so my ex was a ball of fucking mental illness and retardation all mixed into one.
Oh, that's great
And
for our algorithm. I
Yep,
wonder why we don't get
that'll
views.
just go so good here.
it's okay. It works. So
Sure.
that got really, really bad for a very long time. So I stopped realizing what normal people actually talked like and actually had conversations with them. And she was almost 6 foot tall and like she had 3 kids. So, that normal body type at that point. But like I went from that girl, almost 6 foot and 30 years old, to my girlfriend who's 25 and like barely 5 foot. And it is a weird fucking life difference to just be like, no, my girlfriend went from my wife, who was legitimately almost a giant for women, to literally almost a midget for women. And I'm really kind of weirded out by the entire situation because it's like, why did I go from one extreme to the other?
Got to try it all. But you're tall, right? I assume
Yeah,
well over 6 foot.
I am
Well, that's one of
6'5".
his sixes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what you're in, this is one I got nailed for a decade ago on YouTube. You're in a mixed height marriage.
Yep.
And I run into this all the time with my wife. She puts everything on the floor, on shelves and cabinets way the fuck up under there where I can't even see it unless I get on my hands and knees. And I'll just be like, the top of the refrigerator is a good storage spot, and just slam stuff down up there. She can't see it at all. So we constantly go around about that. And amusingly, about a decade ago, I made a YouTube video. If you look it up now, it's called Mixed Height Marriages. I was experimenting with, I guess, being cheeky or clickbait. And I had our wedding photo and it said mixed marriages are awful. And it was a bait because it comes in and it's like, man, it's really hard to be married to somebody who's of a different height. And like the first 5 seconds, it did not stop the algorithm from shitting all over it. And for me picking up like 2,000 dislikes from people that didn't even watch the video, it was a total disaster. The joke did not go even remotely how I thought it would.
Oh, that
Wait,
hits
when did you
so
say that
close
was?
to
20,
home.
like 15?
Something like that. It's easily a decade ago, if not more.
So I mean, I'd imagine that means like the video still did okay, like
Let me find it.
surprisingly good for even its controversial nature.
Let's see. Look it up.
Yeah, because you could kind of get away with that a little bit back then. Definitely not now. Like now, that would blacklist your entire channel. Back then, I'd imagine I'd still like
I know,
actually
it's
be like,
bugging
oh, the
me out
video
of it.
kind of turned out a banger.
Let me see.
I don't know. The amazing thing about my girlfriend with that shit is like she lets me just set the standard for everything. And if she has to look at me and be like, can I have uppies? It's okay. But like I put the chips on top of the cabinet so that way the kids don't get them. You don't want kids just grabbing full on bags of chips and running upstairs and fucking about. So I put them up on top of the like oven, where you have the fucking little heater vent above the oven. It's above the fucking cabinets on top of that. And she's like, babe, I'm too fucking short for this. Can you grab the fucking chips? Like, yeah, I'll get them for you. It's fine.
That's fair.
But I love the joke.
Have you got her a
Fantastic.
stepladder? I got my wife a stepladder. It helps a lot.
I'm gonna say getting a grabber
Probably
sounds
will.
like a really good play.
You go to Dollar Tree, get those $1.25 like old people grabby arms. I have one of those in most rooms in the house, but also my spine doesn't bend,
Yeah.
so I need them.
Well, I've got like a nice $6 one. Like don't cheap out on the grabber.
He
you
stepped
got
up
one of
from
the
the
fancy
$1.35.
Oh yeah,
tree
like
to
it
fucking Family
telescopes, but it
Dollar.
still has a good lock to it. It's got a rubber on the handle, so it
Yeah,
grips.
for like smooth gripping, so you can like
Mhm.
easily like squeeze pills and stuff that you
Oh
drop.
yeah, we have hanging plants, so I can actually.
Nice. Hey, we're living a similar. I got hanging plants in my bathroom, a little garden of Babylon over the tub.
That's neat.
Also, a
That's really neat.
cyber bathroom with rave lights and music that plays. So
That's
weird
really cool.
place.
Yeah, I made my bathroom just the fucking wallpaper because I'm lazy. Like a cave almost. So I got like cave wallpaper and wallpapered half
Mhm.
of the room and then cut out individual rocks to break up the side of it. because I was like, I can't look at this bathroom anymore because it's literally half the size of like a closet. There's a toilet that you can barely stand next to walk past it. You have to stand sideways. And if I was anything over like 200 pounds, I wouldn't fit. It's
So
bad.
you cute cave bathroom now then. You've
Yes, it turned it into a cave bathroom because I was like, that's a better idea.
feels cozier. I'm shitting in a little crevice that
Exactly.
somewhere.
Like,
Then
you remember those old like hotel or garage sinks where it's just like stuck to the wall and it's like porcelain, but it's like shitty and doesn't drain all the way? It's it's a shitty fucking place. As you were
literally you
saying.
shit in it.
Yeah, exactly.
It does bring up a fun topic. I've got a story I could share, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Craziest home renovations that you've done.
I built a green screen stage for Beat Saber content. That was pretty fun.
Are you sure you're not like the alternate version of me? My house for
Have you
like
not
5
seen our
years.
channels? That was one of the first things I said. I
know.
am the Pokemon U of Call of Duty.
You've got to be the evil one. You've got the beard. Kidding. It's old.
I was trying to think. I'm just trying to be like, he's making a connection here. I can't counter. What do I do?
Spock, and then evil Spock just has the beard.
Yeah,
the same thing.
and in like the political climate, I'm the conservative, so you win.
Yeah,
I am
I'm
the
left
evil
of center, a completely opposite. But no, we had that green screen room. That's awesome. I hope that you made great content. It was so fun doing like those.
I did that in
reality
2018, but I sold that house because it was just too
Oh.
much house. I bought like a 2,500 square foot for just me and the dog, and I was like, oh, this is actually a terrible idea. And I was like building stages in the rooms. I'm like, I'm over my head, and I am losing my ass to just landscaping. It's like, oh yeah, March and spring, fall to do all the landscaping so HOA doesn't yell at me. I'm like, that's $2,500 a year right there. I don't care how good YouTube is.
I
I
about
love
you?
that video.
Wildest home upgrade.
A lot of my home upgrades were just like normal bullshit that you would do in a house anyway. I haven't owned anything yet. Everything's been fucking normal. I have to move here because, this is the first apartment I wasn't evicted out of, like ever in my
So
entire
you've been
life.
evicted from all previous residences.
Yes, I lived in this house for the past 7 years now, 8 years now. Every
good.
other place before that, I was evicted from. So, like, if you're talking moving, absolutely did all that by myself. Set up entire houses by myself in like 12 hours. But that's not also impressive. That's not like I did this crazy home renovation and redid an entire room. It's just, my ex-wife was extremely lazy and couldn't lift things, and I moved full entire queen-size mattresses with a broken
Yeah, there's a Gazo
what
link. I
happened?
actually built like a wooden platform that was raised up, and I put like stands and then just gaffing tape and everything and green screen. He has his break. That's fine.
Yep. I'll pop you out when you put your camera back on. I'll pop you back in. The image is right here. Share this tab.
That's just from a
instead.
video. Yeah. I was mostly showing that to Drift0r because he was like excited about my little. You can see how green it is blasting.
That
you.
window didn't show. Like, I know a lot of people have to go through and like edit out things like that and cover them up with heavier things like
I put up a blanket
aluminum
behind
foil and
it
stuff.
after. That was like just a random in progress.
Gotcha. No, I
Thumbnail's kind of
love
a
doing
banger.
that shit. I really genuinely do. Like, I loved having fun and building up my office and stuff like that and just putting things together. But
Will that show? Good, that does show, I think.
it's really small.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things. Like that was the thumbnail. I think the thumbnail was a banger.
Oh, it is. I like it. It's weird the fonts that work on YouTube.
Well, Growbold is like my special one. That's the sauce font that only I use.
Okay, Drift0r.
Acumen and Impact are pretty good.
Welcome
We
back.
just
buddy.
had to take a little break and mute the mic so nobody heard any bad noises and nobody got demonetized for that.
Exactly. No worries. All the
Yeah,
tissues
I
are
was
taken care of.
posting pictures of my VR room.
Oh, nice.
Gotcha.
Holy shit. Did we use the same paper?
What do you mean paper?
For the wallpaper.
So I took just a green screen thing and I just wrapped. Okay, so I built a stage. Like I got a wood platform, raised it off, did like 2x4s with just plywood, and then I put beams up around to build like a box. I just wrapped it in green screen fabric, and then the corners is gaffing tape that has the green screen color.
Okay. I think we did a very similar thing. I'm trying to find a picture of my room.
Because
but
mine is
I
actually
think-
like a stage that I built. And the
I
problem
wish
is
I had a
like
picture of this, but oh well.
I put so much work into that, and then I like did a lot of content with it, and I just got tired of it because like every time I wanted to make a video, I had to update everything. Like the Live software was like, oh, Live updated. Oh, Beat Saber updated. Oh, that broke my Beat Saber mod thing, so I can't make custom songs anymore. Oh, now Beat Saber doesn't play with the new Live update. So it take like 2 hours just to start making videos. I'm just like, great,
Every
now I have
time.
this room I hate.
Did you have to resync it as well when you would update everything?
Yeah, and then the cameras. Oh yeah, like you can see it from video to video where it's like the lightsaber will be below and then above and then it'll be right and then I have to recalibrate and the cameras are all weird and then for some reason like the colors would change. And I'm like, I spent so much money and I got all these new fancy cameras and stuff. It just But yeah, you can see like the effect in that thumbnail is like fucking great. Where I was at, like the focus was perfect and everything looks crisp and saturated. The green screen worked. It was just a pain in the ass after a couple months.
And you know what drove me crazy for this particular thing? Is that not enough people appreciated it. Like not enough people got it. They were just like graphics are bad or something like that. It was really hard to get the casual audience to care for how unique of a thing you were building.
Since I did just Beat Saber, people loved it. We can actually let's play a Beat Saber video of mine now. Let me go find a good one.
I think Beat Saber by itself, because everybody played Guitar Hero and stuff, they actually sort of got it. But anything more than that, the graphics kind of looked off. And so many people just want semi-realistic stuff that people kind of just get fucked up.
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just have a full-on watch of this. Because Beat Saber music isn't copyrighted. You're allowed to use it. It's their original stuff. And that's my video, so I'm not claiming us.
That was actually my question. I was going to ask if you could actually, when you make stuff that is copyrighted music and stuff, with things like Guitar Hero, because now it's catching on again with
Guitar Hero is
Fortnite,
different. Yeah, that's licensed.
what happens with that shit? Because it's a questionable license at that point.
Bad stuff.
You still get flagged for it? Like, I know you get flagged for menu music and stuff, but obviously,
I mean, you're playing a licensed song.
Yeah. So Twitch would like allow it and then randomly strike you, and then it was okay on Twitter, and then it wasn't. I'm sharing one of mine. I'm gonna check yours out too.
Yo, blast that music.
No, I was just making.
Oh, this
it so
one. No,
we could
this one
actually
is
talk
okay.
over
This
it.
is a Beat Saber one. You won't get a strike for this one.
I was just making it so that way we could talk. That's all I was trying to do.
No,
Gotcha.
we're listening to some fucking jams because the music's banger.
But yeah, no, that's weird with everything that's going on with Fortnite Guitar Hero, essentially, and what Clone Hero used to be. It's interesting to see that game starting to come back.
Also, it's just the stream that makes it look low frame rate. Mine's fucking crisp.
Yeah, I've been having that problem. I don't exactly know why. It's literally.
So yeah, I only did that. People had no problems with that.
I'm watching the actual video. Yeah, that's pretty crisp.
It looks clean on my end. I don't know why it comes across.
I think you're using a webcam, aren't you?
For what?
I was using like a 1080 HD, like the most modern webcam of 2019.
It was the Brio, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Because I think I
Probably.
used the exact same webcam, and when you watch mine, it's 30 FPS on me, but the gameplay is 60, so sometimes it gets slightly out of.
I think I used like a powered USB extender to get the 60 FPS out of it.
I think we solved a lot of the same problems. It was maddening to do all of this. I don't know when you got in. I got in on Live as soon as it came out of alpha because I had a hookup. And the alpha version was like eating glass to make work. It was so hard.
Mine was early 2018, like as Beat Saber was in beta, and I got like early Beat Saber access.
Yeah,
And then I got
that's still really early. That's like right there, like the ground floor. And I just wish that technology would have caught on. That was so cool.
That's why I all in and that's why we all in and did that. Cause like this is going to catch on, and we're going to be at the front.
So you
So
wouldn't want to watch this. I'll watch that for hours.
yeah, like so that video got almost 600K views. And then I did one that has over 1 million because it was like the hardest song on launch, and it looked really good. And also, another problem is I put too much on myself that I would only upload a Beat Saber video if I full comboed it, and that just fucking drove me mad. That's actually like 3 hours of just resetting because I missed one note out of 400, and then like I get tired, and then Live doesn't work the next day, so I just get a headache and stop, and I just locked the door to that room and never went in.
You know how people would get frustrated when they fuck up like a Guitar Hero combo and all of a sudden, people don't understand how hard it is, especially with the bigger and more harder songs and stuff. I don't think people genuinely got how hard Beat Saber is. I've never played it, but sitting here watching it and being like, okay, I can genuinely grasp that, Berlisify is a DDR god and thoroughly enjoying this. I would not. I would end up with a nerve migraine because my arm flailing around like a dipshit, and I would be like, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. So I like respect the whole, this is too hard for me. And I feel like a fucking dweeb saying that, like an absolute dipshit saying that something's a little too hard.
Well, I think
I couldn't do that.
Another thing that makes Beat Saber look easy to a lot of people is because when they do it, they just like wiggle their wrists really fast. I actually went for the performance because I'm making content.
Because it looks cool. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's fucking 2018. So that is 17 years of DDR like rhythm gaming experience put into my body. It makes me smile.
God, I loved Beat Saber. I actually got it on the Quest now. You guys can tell me if you think this is a good idea. I want to do a Bed Saber stream where I play Beat Saber from the bed.
That would be cool. Oh, hey, look at yours.
Yeah, this map was extremely disorienting. It felt like the room was spinning when I was done with
so you probably experienced the same thing where how one Live version properly did the walls and then the next Live version didn't do the walls properly anymore?
Yeah, I did indeed. And I have like T-Rex sabers and stuff. I'll pull back from this. We're talking about crazy home renovations. I did do one since we were last on this show. I upgraded, I think I'm at 16 Ethernet ports in my house.
Okay, so Linus Tech Tips.
Basically, so my house is 2 stories, is a little over 4,000 square feet. It sounds impressive, but it's one of those low-cost builder McMansions you get in Texas real easy. Mm-hmm. And I could not get the Wi-Fi to work, and I battled it for years. And it was a little bit politics, but the day Trump got elected, I knew tariffs were coming and things were going to get more expensive. So I was like, fuck it. We're going to upgrade this whole house. And I got Ethernet runs to every single room that's important, which is like 90% of the rooms, multiple ports in each room, giant switch box and everything. So I can hardline anywhere. And interestingly, since you guys are content creators, you probably know about NDI streaming, how you can just NDI from one computer to another, like through the network. Mm-hmm. So that means that we can do NDI cameras, or I could do like, if I wanted to start out at my desk sitting upright, which I don't have a lot of time for, I can just run that NDI to the bed computer. And when I get tired, walk in here. Or if my wife games, she can just NDI her perspective and I can grab it and put it on and it can just be live. It doesn't have to go through Twitch or anything. So that's been awesome, and I don't even use Wi-Fi that much anymore, so that's a blessing.
I bet. And it sounds like it could make things like couch co-op and stuff like that easier. If you're like, hey, I can't sit up anymore, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to go lay in bed, you don't have to move a PlayStation, you don't have to move a computer, you can literally just go somewhere else and just fuck off.
Yeah, now okay, Steam Link. Yeah, now I'm clicking on like your heavily modded Beat Saber video. Oh, I get the gimmick now because it is just like every mod to fuck your shit up right there. Great.
Yep.
And your Beat Saber bed video, the first thing that it made me think of is, this smarmy, smart-ass fucking kid when you were playing Wii bowling, and they would be like, I'm going to sit here and barely move my wrist in hopes that it does exactly what I expect it to do. And then meanwhile, you have the dipshit who's never played Wii bowling trying to bowl like a normal person or an idiot and throwing their hand in a fan and everything else. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. Just a little smarmy kid sitting there flicking their wrist and just sitting down on the couch, not doing anything.
Are you talking about the video I posted of testing it, or
that's just the idea of like.
Okay.
He just sees you in bed.
Yep.
No, I don't do this. So the idea was I'm going to get a queen size bed to myself so I can spread my arms out really far. Probably going to get just to mount a camera on the ceiling or really high up looking down, and I can sort of extend and perform across the entire bed doing Beat Saber. And probably we're not going to do mixed reality. That's not going to work at all. Even if it did, it would be so weird. The blocks would be like coming down.
Doesn't mean like I've been thinking like the camera angles the entire time. It's just not possible. Unless you had like the blocks falling on you from the side.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
But the problem is I no longer have my Vive 2. I sold it because this house just isn't right for it. So I've just got the Quest 3S, and it doesn't do mixed reality. The Quest 3S is I'll be lucky enough to do the PC output and just get the basic like FPV view.
Yeah, that was another thing. Also, the Vive. I didn't even think about that because it's like, oh, Live was hard enough. But if your VR headset decided to act up that day, that's another headache.
Mm-hmm. Vive got discontinued, which is sad. Or it didn't.
I haven't
but
kept
it
up.
got.
That is sad.
It's not relevant like it used to
Mhm.
be.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, the only
'Cause
one.
well,
that
my
I've heard
first
of
thought
people
was like,
picking it
I
up.
just want a Quest 2 now, so I don't have to fiddle with all the shit around the room.
It's great. You can use hand controls, and the laying down mode is fucking awesome. You can just lay down and rotate the screen up. That's what I've been doing. Little ooh woo is me. I don't get to travel too much, but I can load up travel videos in VR and just watch
Or
Mhm.
roller coaster videos or whatever the hell you
Mhm.
want to do.
I love VR.
music videos.
I also
Music
love
videos has been the
sharing
most
VR
fun.
with my friends that have never had VR. Like I put them on that stage, and they got like the better VR experience. Where they're just like, oh my god, this is real. You put them in that fucking VR house, and then you look over the hill, down the hill, and they're like, it's depth of field. It's real.
So I
And
know
they can-
everybody has this question,
Mhm.
but I get car sick if I'm paying attention to my phone because like the movement and whatever, I get really fucked up. Especially if people are bad drivers. I get fucked up if I'm not the one that's in control. There's something weird about the equilibrium. Do you guys get car sick and do you guys have motion sickness issues with VR and stuff like that?
Not
with
unless
VR.
something has gone wrong.
Yeah, like it's made to actually like the reason why I get motion sick is if there's a desync between your body and your brain. But VR does a really good job locking you in. So unless like you're doing like something very fatiguing or it's poorly made and fucking with your eyes, then it shouldn't.
And like the
Yeah.
early stuff obviously probably would have affected that more, but
Mhm.
now there's not as many issues with that stuff.
super.
And
That's
also
a
Beat
super
Saber
rare
is just
problem
not.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rare problem, and
Um,
Beat Saber probably doesn't have any of those issues for most people. And the weird thing is, as I get older, I've gotten more sensitive to motion sickness. Not like in a car or something, but if two things are playing on a screen, I can't do that anymore. Like if two videos start auto playing, or if I'm watching a stream and trying to do something else, that actually makes me a little sick. Another problem is if I have like my recording software and then the actual gameplay in like a different window, and they're like slightly desynced because
Oh,
That makes me feel weird.
that used to not bother me, and now that makes me feel awful.
A thing that used to make me feel weird that I haven't had this issue is 3D movies. Because the like lining would be off just slightly in between the glasses and the screen
Mm.
because not
Mhm.
everything's straight. So obviously you're seeing everything jarred and everything else. That would make me extremely motion sick. But now the movies that I've seen in 3D have been absolutely fantastic.
I haven't
the
seen a
last one
3D movie in forever.
The last one I saw, I had to take my glasses off because the baby needed her snack. So I'm sitting here digging through a diaper bag. I have my glasses off. You look up at the screen, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on?" But you still kind of have the picture actually together. It's weird now.
so have you done VR? Zach,
I
are you
have
a
not.
VR?
Nope.
Oh,
That's
I
why I
think
was
you should
asking.
check it out.
That's it's so cool. It's
Because you
real.
can it makes you feel like you're there. So to
Mhm.
think about it, they're all the lenses are almost like little round things that like sit over your eye. So
Mhm.
you can look hard to the left as you want, and it's still VR, like for the most part. I mean, if you maybe get a cheap one, maybe not.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
3D for real, and your body feels it. Like I said, you like
Yeah.
look over the edge, and it feels like you're about to fall off.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about like the actual feeling of do you still get motion sick with these things? Because that
Mhm.
would definitely fuck me up. That's why I stayed away from it in the beginning. Was like
No.
that desync would fuck with me badly.
That desync is extremely rare these days. It basically never happens for video play. Sometimes if you get a game that's badly optimized or you're running like a really heavy instance of OBS, you can get a little delay, but that's really rare. That is a problem for like 10 years ago. It's not a very common problem now. The problem you're most likely to run into is you'll get on YouTube VR, you'll watch a couple of videos on the GoPro channel of people that went skydiving or something. Theirs are all really great, high quality. It's had that like Adobe Premiere smoothing effect added to it.
Yep.
And it'll recommend one of like testing out 360 GoPro for the first time, 70 views, and it's just shake, and it'll make you like so sick. You got to
Yep.
watch the good videos, not like the randos.
random person that dropped it down to 15 frames just so that way their computer could render it.
That's a huge one too that you'll run into with video is that VR looks way better at about a minimum of truly a bare minimum of about 70. But recommended is 90 to 120. But most VR videos are filmed at either 30 or 24 FPS to save the burden on the camera because you have to sense so much stuff. You cut the frame rate in half, you cut the data in half, and it very rarely looks or feels right. That's why I love those like 60 FPS plus ones. Those feel like real to me.
Oh yeah, it also gets really weird, especially at 24, because you're getting like intermediate ones, so you're going from like 70 or 82 to 106 or whatever, and then you're skipping that 90 that it's looking for. So you're even getting like choppy in between frames. So there's like there's no sync.
It seems like a lot of video editors and stuff now, if you're not on Adobe Premiere, are suggesting 24 frames. With
Yes, 'cause
Wondershare and
that's
stuff, when I'm going to edit with Wondershare, it tells me, "Oh, you want 24 frames?" No, stop asking me. Stop fucking asking me.
we have a cinemaphile over here. He wants to make an artistic 24 frames per second.
Oh
Nah,
my
that's
God,
terrible. I'll
man.
pass this to Verlusify. Have you seen a 24 FPS VR video that also has the cinematic motion blur instead of none?
No, nah. I wouldn't
Don't.
even attempt to try to find that or
Instantly
even
sick.
stumble. Yeah, I bet. It also goes back to what Zach was saying about 3D movies. Like, I think the last 3D movie I saw was actually The Hobbit, and I heard like a lot of people had a lot of motion sickness issues with that one. I didn't.
I didn't like the soap opera effect. The smoothness of it made it look a little bit cheaper,
I think that's what made
but
people sick because it was like way too high FPS for the time.
it was like watching a video game clip for like the fight scenes and stuff. Because they didn't the Hobbit played in 48 FPS, and Peter Jackson had to like custom time these cameras and do totally different like amounts of motion blur and all this really technical shit to make that look good. And it was like it was a bizarrely filmed series, but it is very cool when you watch it in that 48 FPS,
Yeah.
like ultra high quality 3D. It's very unique. I don't think Peter Jackson quite got the credit he deserved for that one.
The two movies that I saw in 3D last year were the two weirdest movies if you pick them out of the bunch. I saw Wolverine and Deadpool in 3D, and I saw Transformers 1 in 3D. And both of them were fantastic. Like super, super clean, going to a random fucking theater that sells cheap tickets still and is completely empty, and you can upgrade to VIP seating for free because they don't check the rooms ever. Like one of those places that you're like, yeah, this is just nice to be here, and you get to bring in your Chipotle burrito, and they don't give a fuck as long as you don't make a mess. Like they were fantastic. Like you watch everybody throw shit at Deadpool while he's dancing to fucking Backstreet Boys. It's fantastic.
But you watched a converted film. So Deadpool and Wolverine is filmed on film stock, 24 FPS, and in editing and post, they rip it into layers and add artificial depth to the layers. If you watch something like Avatar, they filmed it on 3D, almost LiDAR sensing cameras. So it has a full range of depth. It's sort of a different animal there. But those cameras were so expensive, nobody uses them. They all do what they do with Deadpool, and just we do background, middle ground, and foreground, and we just 3-layer this thing.
Yeah, and it was still good enough that it didn't make me sick. And I was like, I'm gonna risk, $7 to go per person. It is what it is. Let's see what it is. It was fantastic enough for me to enjoy the entire movie. I like the movie.
It's also a good movie.
Yeah. And like I think that's also why Avatar's 3D actually made people like upset. There was like an Avatar depression syndrome where people like I can't be there because they were actually there. They lived it because it was filmed in 3D.
Well, that first movie, I've seen most of the second one. I slept a couple times. You watch it 2 or 3 times, sleep through a 3-hour movie. You put the entire movie together. I did that with the first one, but it felt like I could go back and watch it and it would be okay. And with my ADHD, I cannot normally rewatch movies unless I thoroughly enjoy them. But I would watch it enough to the point where I'd be like, I want to know what happens. Let me watch it again and try and have an idea of what happens next. And it's a good enough story that you can kind of just suspend your disbelief and figure it out. It was interesting. Cool. And it's beautiful. Like you're always seeing new shit in those movies, and it's just, oh, look that.
Yeah, that jellyfish. He's acting different.
James
movies
Cameron wants to push the envelope a little bit, which
The
kind of
movies
always has been.
that I saw like that were Harry Potter. Like even in the 90s, there's shit that you don't fucking expect to be there. And then you go up through the entire series, there's changes fucking everywhere. But did you guys see the TV castings and stuff for Harry Potter?
I didn't know there was a Harry Potter TV show.
So HBO is going to be filming and releasing a full-on movie length series per TV. So season 1 will be year 1. Season 2 will be year 2, and they will be filmed sequentially so that way the kids grow up in time and everything else on purpose. But why don't you guys give me your idea on who Severus Snape should be?
Oh, I heard my wife talking about
Yeah, I've
this one.
already heard this one where it's like they got a black dude, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So it scares me. It scares me that they might cancel this series when they get to like movie 5 level, year 5 stuff, because it's going to be sort of race baity. It's going to be kind of fucked up. And they have to film it correctly and actually say the shit back and forth. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
What a series for this to happen to when you look at J.K. Rowling. We got to make her real original vision here.
Well,
That was a good one.
honestly, if they put Morgan Freeman as Dumbledore, I think people would be mad. But I think people would accept it at some point. He wasn't described as white. You know what I'm saying? Like there's
an old wise man with a
Yeah,
beard.
exactly.
It still gets the job done.
Severus Snape is literally described as essentially a vampire who's white and has a crooked nose and has a big ass chin and hunched over.
Count
That's
Orlok
not,
is what he looks like.
that's not the guy you kind of typecast into somebody else. Like especially when they had somebody so openly saying, "Hey, I'll do it," and he fucking fits the bill in Adam Driver. He's like, "Hey, me guys, like I'm here," and they're like,
I'm young
no.
Snape.
The problem is like when it's a deliberate disrespect of the source material, where it's like, yeah, while there would be outrage for Dumbledore, that is kind of the character where it's like if you do have a token character in any series going back into the 90s when people didn't care about that, it was usually the helpful cool guy on the side.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, it's weird to see how they change things. Like Snow White is another one where they describe the specific character and they just twist it, and it's like the ones that actually make sense. Go ahead, change.
The point
The
of that, I
only
believe,
character
is
that
bait.
is described as explicitly the whitest person in this show, in this story, is the one that gets swapped every time. It's weird.
But the point of that is bait. The point of that is to deliberately stir this controversy because the logic was that it would get people to go watch the movie. And that was true for a short period of time. But I
Not
think
anymore.
the trick no longer works. I'll throw you an opposite of this, though, because I agree with you that usually this is a disaster. Did anybody here watch the Sandman series on Netflix?
No. I'm not a big
What
watcher
is
of anything.
Yeah.
Loved those comic books. Huge fan. They're super
Sandman
amazing.
from like Marvel, like Spider-Man Sandman? Or is
No.
it? Okay.
We're talking Neil Gaiman's Sandman, Morpheus, Master of Dreams, a comic book that would break out for 10 pages of poetry for no reason. It was like, you ever read The Watchmen or anything from Alan Moore, how it's like so much more complex than a comic book should be? It was like that. But not the point. They had a character, Death. Death is a character. They're on screen all the time. Death is an extremely pale white goth woman. She literally looks like a 90s club kid. Has a unique personality, is extremely friendly. Everybody likes Death. Death gets along with everybody, weirdly. One of the best characters in the entire series. Netflix did a complete inversion, and they went with an extremely dark black woman, which would be like the exact opposite. And I was initially off-put by this because the change was so extreme. But I did watch the show, and I got to say, different looks aside, the actress that they hired to play the character profoundly nailed it. Like, did a great job. And in the context of the book, Death always appears to different people in sort of slightly different forms, usually a variation of her own, a reflection of whoever she's picking up. If it's a dog, Death looks like a dog, you know. So in the context of that, it seemed reasonable that Death is shape-shifting and that the actress's color doesn't matter very much as long as it's well played and stuff. But it did upset a lot of people. And as much as that was totally okay with that, I will admit that that
Mhm.
type of treatment is not the common one for swapping out
No,
actors.
it's almost like they want to be as disrespectful as possible. And this is the best analogy that I can see for it is if they made a live action Princess and the Frog and they picked an Australian white chick to play Tiana. And they're like, yes, play a Southern black woman, use all of the same dialect, and do not mention it. Just don't mention it. And let's see how this works. And it's like, you're going to fail.
Yeah. And going back to the death thing, I feel like people wouldn't be as upset about like the whole race swapping if care was put into it, or if they actually thought about that, like, we'll make this actress 80% death. And then the other 20% of the time, it'll be like the white, pale woman that we're expecting to work at Hot Topic. But then, like, for the different characters where it makes sense, we'll swap it to like the darker death. And that would be actually be like, no one could ever have a problem with that.
That's pretty much how the comics work, and the show's not
Mhm.
too different. A little bit lower budget for those
Well,
swaps.
if they didn't go like, let's only just do a race swap here, but if they were like, let's do mostly a race swap because it's on brand, I think that would even be like, oh, they actually cared. They are respecting the source material, and no one could care, or else you're racist, actually.
I had to drop the Robert Downey Jr. Tropic Thunder here. We're doing this.
Yep.
Again, a role that was accepted because it was a parody of why these roles are bad. Like,
Yeah.
weird. Anyway,
But like
weird
even
world we
those
live in.
even those roles as a whole, like if you're making a joke about them, I would rather things be completely open. I'd rather conversation be completely open than so subjugated to having to cut these corners. But like at least understand what the fuck you're doing. Like if you made Deadpool black, zero people would worry about it. Why? Because the story is he's a literal ninja essentially
Yeah.
who makes jokes and breaks the fourth wall.
And he's in a
Race-
red suit most of the time. Like that
That's
happened
my
in the
point. It's like
90s
he's
with
a ninja.
Spawn.
Yeah.
Remember Spawn? Nobody gave a fuck Spawn was black.
That's my point. And I hate that everybody wants to point at it being a racist thing. It's not a fucking racist thing. It's like you're making it racist on purpose so that way you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Just
want to
make it
cancel
weird.
everybody about it. You know, I think it honestly did spawn out of cancel culture and how weird that entire time was, where we're just fucking killing off entire careers because they did something weird in the 70s and 80s. And it was such a weird time, but now is really fucking weird. I don't know if you guys saw on TikTok about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, Casey Anthony returned randomly. And I only saw her as a meme for like a good,
Decade.
6 years. Yeah. It was, holy shit, that chick has a fat ass. I might leave a load. And that was the meme that you see for like 6 fucking years because she has a round ass. And it's like now all of a sudden everybody wants to cancel her off TikTok because of what she did. It's like, number one, you guys didn't cancel OJ. He just got bigger. He just kept being on TV. He just kept being a part of the Kardashians. Nobody really said anything. He kept making money. He even released a book that said, if I did it. Which
I'm
was
trying to keep
how he
up
did
with
it.
Zach here, but are you saying we shouldn't cancel Casey Anthony?
I think we should.
Okay.
But I don't
Okay,
understand
okay.
exactly
I was
why.
on the
every-
same-
He was saying it in his like signature
No.
retarded Zach way, and I was getting worried.
I don't understand where the fuck the line is. And that's where my question is like, at what point do you cancel somebody? Because Kevin Spacey was
I
canceled
would say
from
for
Netflix.
killing your child is a pretty good one.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a
but I
pretty
don't think
top-notch
that's the
reason.
start. I'm saying I don't think that's the starting line. That's not your fucking bunny ears and butt plug. Like Kevin Spacey gets canceled off Netflix for doing all the shit he did and literally possibly killing people. Allegedly. He's still on YouTube. He still
Alec
has
Baldwin is also
socials.
the other weird one.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand where this line is.
Yeah, you mentioned Alec Baldwin. He had this is my take, genuine accident. The armorer fucked up, and now he's getting dragged for murder. Like, what? We're
I
talking
think it's
about that
manslaughter
Baldwin, right?
minimum.
I
Like
heard
that should
that-
be a huge thing.
Right. Okay.
I-
So here's imagine you're on a movie set. Okay. There's at least one registered certified armorer that is insured and required to be there by the state, often multiple armorers.
Mhm.
And their only job is to keep the actors on Westerns from shooting each other. They make sure the actors know this is a real gun with real bullets. We're not shooting at other people. This is a replica. This is a replica that does have plastic plugs in it. Be careful. This is literally a hunk of metal. It does nothing. They handed Baldwin a full metal gun, like one of those airsoft ones, and said, hey, this is a replica. You can do the scene and shoot at the other actor, and it's just going to pop, and it's going to be fine. No bullets come out. But it's still a full metal prop that looks identical to the real one. So Alec Baldwin, who worked with this armor for several weeks, says, okay, that's your job to check this. I'll do it. And then he shot somebody. How the fuck is that his fault?
There's little bits of backstory. I know parts of this is fact and parts of it are questionable. And you guys tell me what you guys have heard. The main part that I know is fact is that the night before, they were using the gun that they used in the scene to shoot targets and have fun and whatever. Bullets and live fire rounds, so rounds that are dummy rounds that sound like they shoot, that don't, got mixed together in some form or fashion. I believe this is where my opinion and what I've seen and can't fact check goes into play. I believe Alec Baldwin was one of the people that was shooting. That's where his culpability and questionability comes into play.
If that's the case, I would agree that there is a messier line there. Because you saw the picture of me with guns. I'm going to make gun videos. I don't play with them. They're not fucking toys.
You know the rules. You could say the 4 rules of gun safety.
Yeah. Is that a prompt to do that for the audience? Don't point it at a person unless you're ready to kill that person. Don't load it unless you're ready to use it. Don't chamber a round unless you're ready to use it. Don't put your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to use it. Don't take the safety off unless you're ready to use it. And we'll add a 6th rule. Make sure whatever is behind your target is also safe.
Yeah, the big one is know your target and what's behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not doing all 6 of those, you shouldn't have a gun.
Well, see, then the problem is, like, even if you're instructed, like, oh, this is safe, it's fine, you still don't break rule number 1, which is don't point a gun at anything you're not willing to destroy.
Yeah.
And, like, that's the thing. And I think even then he broke what you're supposed to do on a movie set. Even when they shoot someone on a movie set, you're not aiming at the person. You're aiming off to the side of the person. I'm pretty sure that's, like, the protocol, even in, like, completely split rounds or
something
lengths.
Similar with the whole, oh, you're not allowed to look down the barrel of a gun. Like, there are specific rules around having firearms in movies and in cinema as a whole. So why were these things so disconnected from this specific film? We haven't seen anything before that, really, as a whole, like mass media, crazy things like this. We haven't
Brandon
seen
Lee. Remember Brandon Lee? Same thing happened, more or less.
Yeah, but when we can count them on one hand of, like, these things have happened in our life, this is a bigger one. This is like a bookend thing because of how big Alec Baldwin is.
Everyone knows Alec Baldwin, where it's like, oh, he shot someone, crazy. I think another thing was it wasn't for the scene. He was, like, off scene making a joke and just bam. It's like, well, shit, what do you do now?
And that to me is another step. Like, if that's true and they weren't filming at the time, why the fuck are you pulling the trigger? Like, if
you're told you're safe and you're about to pull it in the scene, you got something there. But like I said, I think even then the protocol is you never point even a fake gun or fake round at someone on set because of the first rule of gun safety. He was just getting in actor mode and just bang.
Isn't the big thing, like, if you're going to do that and screw around in that way and fuck around, you're the one who loads the shit, because then you at least know what the fuck you're putting in it.
I think that could even get weird in, like, California law, where, like, you need the armorer to handle and load the weapon.
That sounds very California law to me.
If somebody hands me a weapon and it's loaded, and I don't know if that's simunition or live ammunition, I would want at minimum to see and know, hey, these little green tip ones, we don't point these at people. These little blue tip ones, these ones are fake. These are the ones you're okay to point at people. I'm putting in blue ones. Watch. 1, 2. Like, show me everything.
Well, he's Alec Baldwin. He's got busy shit to do. That's why you just delegate everything. You don't go, I want to see you pour my coffee so there's no cyanide in it.
And honestly, look at the charges he's facing. Am I facing those charges? See, there's a difference, isn't there?
But I think he got off easy. Like I'm thinking, like, big manslaughter.
I wouldn't say that. Movie sets are messy and they don't often follow the rules. If you want to play this clip that I just sent, It's an example of a stunt scene in a real movie that should have been super illegal, but was not at the time. This would be a great thing to show just here. It's a sort of a classic bad movie, so you're very unlikely to get strikes or anything for that. Hopefully,
I
the
mean, that
time
could also
embed
just be like a
will work.
quick cutout if we needed to.
Skip to about 35 seconds. The beginning's a little boring. Yeah, somewhere in there. So if this is the scene I think it is, it's going to go increasingly off the rails until this kid in a wheelchair, who, by the way, is a real disabled child, is running down the highway, like in LA, on this fucking wheelchair. If this is the scene in the movie, at some point he like grabs onto the back of a car and rides it. And these cars
like Tony Hawk Underground?
Yeah, for real. Like, look how close these stunt cars are coming to this kid. Do you think that was safe?
No, it looks like.
Do you think they followed the rules here?
It looks like honestly, the adrenaline retard in me is like, oh, dude, this looks so fun to do.
There we go. This whole thing, like, but this is.
That was definitely a cut.
Reality. Yeah, the reality is that movies are made unsafely like this, and it happens, absolutely. And it's unfortunate. And a movie set is messy. Like, we're seeing just that part, but I guarantee you there were 14 other people there doing other things.
Yeah,
and if one of them fucks up, the kid dies.
And there's, animals and everything else that get hurt on these movie sets and are never talked about. There's lists about every movie. All of these things broke. All of these things died. We made the movie, though. It's okay. It's just like, thanks for telling us, but not telling us. Like, it's so messy. And it's weird to try and figure out where that whole, you have to do the right thing, but, content creation's messy.
So if Alec Baldwin was drinking and shooting guns and playing around with them, I think that makes him a lot more, what's the right word? Negligent? Liable or negligent than just an actor who they handed him a prop and said, this is safe, and it wasn't. Because those are different things.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference as a whole if you look at the entire thing. I could be absolutely wrong. And I will honestly take that. Zero.
Yeah, it's a very deep and thick court case that 3 YouTubers have not studied.
I'm not.
Or that we might not even ever get the public details on.
Yeah, I'm not Wendigoon of Alec Baldwin. I don't want to know about shit. It is what it is. I just thought, that shit's crazy. You see shit everywhere. You're just like, I'm going to consume information and spit it out whenever I get a chance. But if any % of that's real, there might actually genuinely be a problem. It's sad.
I would agree. Filming is tough. I've done a bunch of short films with fake guns, and I've done films with real guns. And it is, even at my tiny budget level, it's difficult to do all of that safely.
Yeah.
And make it look good.
Yeah, and make it look good. Because the reality is that the more like real it is, the better it looks. Like, I filmed fight scenes in mine, and I told my friends, like, you can just punch me, not in the face, just like sock me in the gut or something. I can take it. Yeah, I took about 2 takes, and I'm like, one of those is going to have to work, man. We're not doing this all day.
It's like, you really had to go full strength. Fuck.
Right, but it looked better. I had a guy like pick me up and throw me down in a skit, and it hurt really bad, but it looked great.
I saw a YouTube short about that the other day. Rihanna slapped this dude. It was a movie. It was Michael Cera, and she fakes it. They're like, can you try it once? Can you just
come on, how hard can Rihanna slap someone?
She like fucked up this dude's face for like 3 days because she just full on fucking hit him. And he like flies in the scene, and they're like, that's the scene we're using. Done. Let's move on to the next one. I'm like, yeah, that has to be the one you use. It can't be you try it again. He's not going to fly through the window next time. It's like, the fuck, man. But honestly, to go back to the Casey Anthony part of this, where is that line of like, people are past the point of no return now?
Well, I think it's your personal line. There's no government board of canceling, no select committee of cancellations.
Oh,
it's a mass of people that sort of draw their own line on the sand. Like, people still love All Gas No Brakes, even though the dude admitted to sexually assaulting a couple of women. They just don't care.
It's not even a line, it's a DMZ.
Yeah.
It's just like you have this area where you're allowed to do it here, but other person isn't allowed to do it here just because they like you more. Like PewDiePie, he said the big bad. Like
Yeah.
More than once.
that should be gone. Like some people are gone forever for that. Not
Yeah,
him because he was big enough, and
I know
people
the
still like
clip.
him. Pewd's
I-
cool.
I
He's
can
got family in
imagine the clip.
Japan now. I'll let it slide.
I don't know. It's so interesting because to me, it's like, can we refilm that last season of House of Cards with Kevin Spacey in it, please? I really like the show.
Let's get AI Kevin Spacey.
That would be fine too. Can we just copy his voice?
Yeah, and also like the weird thing is like there's some people that consider like SA at the same level of murder. So it's like you don't even like some people don't even come back from that. So sometimes the person that killed a man is actually better off than ruining someone's life like that.
I'm kind
Or
of in that
somebody who's
same boat
falsely
because you
accused.
like sexually assault somebody, that's sort of a lifetime of punishment for the victim. That's a thing
Mhm.
that you carry with you for a very, very long
And some
time.
people do consider that like more evil to be torturous than to be like executionary.
And it's all philosophical. And I
So
understand
yeah,
that.
everyone's line is just weird. And again, depends on the person where it's like, yeah, we'll let a little bit of that go, but then
And it's
other
all-
person's not allowed. I saw something today that Dexerto posted Aiden Ross is in talks with Twitch to go back online or like to be back on Twitch. I'm just like, bro, he went further than Andrew Tate for the content, and they're considering him like letting him back on Twitch. That
What was the thing that got him banned again?
Oh, look.
I don't know. It was so long ago and I couldn't care. Where I was just like, the dude's just a clown that's somehow worse than Andrew Tate. So I don't like whatever got him banned. He deserved it.
I fucking forgot his name literally after you said it. My ADHD is running wild. I've been up since fucking
Aiden
6 o'clock
Ross.
this morning.
Oh, the ban was he showed his unmoderated Kick live chat on his Twitch stream, and his Kick live chat was just sort of a a cavalcade of racial slurs, and he just left it up there.
There was one right before that too. That was when he said, "Fuck it, I'm not going back."
Yeah, because I imagine like that like he was already on the line enough to where Twitch was like waiting for the reason to get rid of him, and that was a good one. But then before then, like I only knew about him as like worse than Tate.
He was banned from Activision for Ricochet. And that doesn't really do anything that crazy. He reacted to Hassan being unbanned. That was fucking stupid. Yeah, I don't. It's not even in the first page of results. I hate the fact that this web page isn't that big anymore. I don't fucking remember the name of it. There used to be a website where you could literally see the reason why everybody was banned or unbanned.
Was it Livestream? No, Livestream Fail is a subreddit.
Either way,
I randomly see it posted on fucking Twitter all the time where it's like, oh, this person was banned for this reason. And it's like, oh, they were banned for 2 days. And I'm like, why? Like, I've seen fucking Hassan be banned fucking 5 times. Not a single one of them stick. And it's like, dude, if I said half the things you said.
yeah.
You remember Sniper Wolf doxed a fellow mega creator, one who is perhaps not as monetarily successful, but definitely more respected than her. And then people went through her channel and found some stuff adjacent to cheese pizza and some very inappropriate things with minors. And YouTube was like, 1 week suspension.
Mm-hmm.
The crazier thing is, I remember when I got my kids their
Bro,
tablet.
yeah, it's not even a slap on list. It's actually like one of those like creepy.
I got it
on the
a
wrist.
notification, guys. I remember when I got my kids, they were Kindle Fires and they would watch on YouTube Kids. Sniper Wolf's videos were showing up more often than not on YouTube Kids. And it's
Yeah.
just like, what the fuck is this?
Definitely targeting children to get more viewership and exploit the algorithm. Oh, going back
And
to the whole
shaking grass.
algorithm
Look at
things,
that.
like Copa is like my other white whale of hatred that I have inside of me, where it's all Pokemon. Like every Pokemon content creator targets children and like exploits the algorithm. No Copa violations. And it was one of those funny things because I have like screenshots where the day before the Copa thing went through, they had like their YouTube channel description or their tags were just like kid friendly, child, kid Pokemon, family friendly, and all that stuff. Day after, they scrubbed all that. I was just like, and they make the exact same content. So it's like, hey, YouTube, why don't you do something about it? But there's no report feature. That's another crazy thing. Like you click report, there's no violates Copa, targets children. They just have like 3 report buttons that are useless.
They don't care.
They
There's
don't
so
care.
much.
I hate it.
I could tell my sob stories about getting harassed and my harassment being posted on YouTube, and they don't care. But that's the story that you see pretty much across the spectrum of influencers, is that on a platform, one person will be doing something wildly illegal and dangerous, and the platform is just like, we don't care. They just don't pay any attention to it at all.
Yeah. And then like the Sniper Wolf thing, it's like, yeah, that should be career ending, and has career ended many other people. It's like she's fine. She gives us a lot of views.
It's just stupidity. It's stupidity. They just want to sit here and bait everything and get as many views as they possibly can. Boys, it's been a blast. I know Drift0r has problems with his back and doesn't like chilling all the time. I told him only an hour and a half, and he stayed an extra 15 minutes. Buddy, we love having you on.
Oh, you didn't tell me an hour and a half, because I had a little story before we go about how I'm actually like sous videing a steak right now, so it's going to like perfectly line up with the end of the episode. I'm hyped for that.
I have 6 topics that we didn't touch one. It's one of those days, boys. It was a good week. Thank you, boys, for coming on.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the invite. It's always good to be here.
Thank you, buddy.
Fun.